Yes, I've tricks in my pocket. I have things up my sleeve. But I'm the opposite of a stage magician. He gives you illusion that has the appearance of truth. I give you truth in the pleasant disguise of illusion. To begin with, I turn back the time. I reverse it to that quaint period, the 30s, where the large middle class of America was matriculating in a school for the blind. They had lost their eyesight, or they had failed, so their hands were being pressed down on the fiery Braille alphabet of a dissolving economy. In Spain, there was revolution. Here there was fighting and confusion. In Spain there was Guernica. Here there were disturbances of labor in otherwise peaceful cities, such as Chicago, Cleveland, St. Louis. This is the social background of the play. The play is memory. Being a memory play, it is dimly lighted, it is sentimental, it is not realistic. In memory, everything seems to happen to music. That explains the piano and the wings. I'm the narrator of the play, and also a character in it. Since I have a poet's weakness for symbols, I am also using him as a symbol. He's the long-delayed, but always expected something that we long for. There's another character in this play who doesn't exist except for this larger-than-life photograph above the mantel. This is our father, who left us a long time ago. He was a telephone operator who fell in love with long distances. Quit his job with the telephone company and skipped the light fantastic out of town. Last we heard from him was a picture postcard with a message containing 2 words: hello, goodbye, and no address. I think the rest of the play will explain itself.
Tom, we can't start dinner without you.
Coming, Mother.
You know, I had the funniest experience in church last Sunday. The church was crowded, except for one little pew way down in front, and that with just one little woman in it. I smiled sweetly and I said, "Excuse me, would you mind if I shared this pew with you?" She said, "I certainly would. This pew is rented." That's the first time I ever heard that the Lord rented space. These northern Episcopalians. I can understand the southern Episcopalians, but these northern ones, not. Oh, honey, don't push your food with your fingers. If you want to push it with something, the thing to push with is a crust of bread. And you must chew your food. Now, animals have secretions in their stomach that allow them to digest without mastication. But human beings have to chew their food before they swallow it down. Now, a well-cooked meal has a lot of delicate flavors in it that must be held in the mouth. For appreciation. So, chew, chew, chew. Don't you want to give your salivary glands a chance to function?
I haven't enjoyed one bite of this meal because of your constant directions on how to eat it. It's you that make me rush through every meal with your hawk-like attention to everything I do. It's sickening. All this talk about animal mastication and salivary glands.
Oh, temperament like a metropolitan star. You are not excused from the table.
I'm going to have a cigarette.
Mother,
You smoke too much.
let me bring in the coffee.
Oh, no, no, dear. Sit down. I'm going to be the houseboy today, and you're going to be the lady.
I'm already up.
Now, resume your seat, little sister. I want you to stay fresh and pretty. For gentlemen callers.
But I'm not expecting any gentlemen callers.
Well, the nice thing about them is they come when they're least expected. Why, I remember one Sunday afternoon in Blue Mountain that I was a girl.
I know it's coming.
Yes, but let her tell it.
Again?
She loves to tell it. Sunday afternoon.
When your mother was a girl in New England, she entertained 17 gentlemen callers. Sometimes we didn't have enough chairs to accommodate them all, so we had to send the houseboy over to the parish house to fetch some folding chairs.
How did you entertain all those gentlemen callers?
Well, I happen to know the art of conversation.
I bet you could talk.
Well, I could. And all the girls of my day could talk, I can tell you.
Yes.
Well, we knew how to entertain our gentlemen callers. Well, it wasn't enough to have a pretty face and a graceful figure, though. I wasn't slighted in either respect. We also had to have a nimble wit and a tongue to meet all occasions.
What did you talk about?
Well, we talked about things of importance going on in the world. Never anything coarse or common or vulgar. My callers were gentlemen all. Among my callers were some of the most prominent young men in the Mississippi Delta. Why, there was Chad Lachlan. He became vice president of the Delta Planters Bank. And Haddon Stevenson, he drowned in Moon Lake. He certainly left his widow well provided for. 150,000 in government bonds, no less. And the Couture brothers, Wesley and Bates. Oh, Bates was one of my dry, particular beaux. But he got into a quarrel with that White Wainwright boy, and they shot it out right there on the floor of the Moon Lake Casino. Bates was shot right through the stomach. He died in the ambulance on the way to Memphis. He certainly left his widow well provided for, too. 8,000 or 10,000 acres, no less. He never loved her. She just caught him on the rebound. My picture was found on him the night he died. And there was that boy that every girl in the Delta had set her cap for. That beautiful, brilliant, young Fitzhugh boy from Greene County.
What did he leave his widow?
Oh, he never married. What's the matter with you? You talk as if all my old admirers had turned up their toes to the daisies.
Isn't this the first one you mentioned that still survives?
He made a lot of money. He went up north to Wall Street and made a fortune. Anything he touched turned to gold. And I could have been Mrs. Duncan J. Fitzhugh, mind you. But what did I do? I just went out of my way and picked your father.
Mother, let me clear the table.
Oh, no, sister. I want you to go in front and practice your typewriter chart. Study your shorthand a little. I want you to stay fresh and pretty. Why, it's almost time for your gentleman clothes to start arriving. How many do you think we're going to entertain this evening?
I don't believe we're going to receive any, Mother.
Not any? Not one gentleman caller? Oh, you must be joking. What's the matter? Is there a flood or a tornado or something?
It isn't a flood. It's not a tornado, Mother. I'm just not popular like you were in Blue Mountain. Mother's afraid I'm going to become an old maid.
I know. You were just practicing your shorthand, I suppose. Deception. Deception. Deception.
How was the DAR meeting, Mother? Didn't you go to the DAR meeting?
No, I did not go to the DAR meeting. I did not have the courage. In fact, I did not have the strength to go to the DAR meeting. I wanted to find a hole in the ground and hide myself in it for the rest of my entire life.
Mother, why are you doing that? Mother, why are you...
Why? Why? Laura, how old are you?
Mother, you know my age.
I thought that you were an adult. It seems that I was mistaken.
Please don't stare at me, Mother.
What are we going to do? What is going to become of us? What is the future?
Mother, has something happened? Has something happened, Mother?
I'll be all right in a minute. I'm just bewildered by life.
I wish you would tell me what has happened, Mother.
As you know, I was supposed to be inducted into my office at the DAR this afternoon. But I stopped off at Rubicamp's Business College to talk to your teachers about you having a cold and to find out what kind of progress you were making down there.
Oh,
Oh. I went up to your typing instructor and introduced myself as your mother. She did not know who you were. Wingfield, she said. We don't have any such student enrolled here. I assured her that she did, that you had been going to class since early in January. I wonder, she said, whether you could be talking about that terribly shy little girl who dropped out of school after just a few days of attendance. Oh, no, I said, my daughter Laura has been going to class every single day for the past 6 weeks. Excuse me, she said. She took down the attendance book, and there was your name, unmistakably written, and all the dates that you had been absent. I still asked her, oh, there must be some mistake. There must be some mix-up in the records. No, she said, I remember her exactly now. She couldn't hit the right keys. The first time we gave a speed test, she broke down completely, got sick at the stomach, and almost had to be carried to the washroom. After that morning, she never came back anymore. We phoned the house, but there was never any answer. That was when I was working full-time down at that department store, I suppose, demonstrating those. Oh, I felt so weak. I could barely keep up on my feet. I had to sit down while they got me a glass of water. $50 tuition! All of our hopes, all my plans and ambitions for you just gone up the spout. Just gone up the spout like that! Laura, what are you doing? Laura, please, don't play that Victrola! Laura, where have you been going when you've gone out pretending to go to business college?
I just went out walking.
That's not true.
It is. I just went out walking.
Walking? Walking in winter? Deliberately caught pneumonia in that light coat? Where did you walk to?
All sorts of places. The park, mostly.
Even when you were catching that cold?
It was the lesser of the two evils, Mother. I couldn't go back there. I threw up on the floor.
So, from 7:30 a.m. until after 5 p.m., you mean to tell me that you walked around in the park just to make me think you were going to Rubican's Business College?
It's not as bad as it sounds. I went inside places to get warmed up.
Inside where?
I went in the art museum and the birdhouses at the zoo. I visited the penguins every day. Sometimes I went without lunch and went to the movies. Lately, I've been spending most of my afternoons in the Jewel Box, that beautiful glass house where they raise the tropical flowers.
You did all that just to deceive me? Just for deception? Why?
Mother, when you're disappointed, you've got that awful suffering look on your face, like the picture of Jesus' mother in the museum. I couldn't face it.
It's not the money so much. But honey, what are we going to do the rest of our lives? Stay home and watch the parades go by? Amuse ourselves with a glass menagerie? Eternally play those worn-out phonograph records that your father left as a painful reminder of himself? We won't go to business school. We've given that up because it gave us nervous indigestion. What else is there but dependency all our lives? Oh, I know so well what happens to unmarried women who are not prepared to occupy a position in life. I saw so many pitiful cases like that in the South. Barely tolerated spinsters, living on grudging patronage from sister's husband and brother's wife, stuck up in a little mousetrap of a room, encouraged by one in-law to go visit another. Little bird-like women without a nest, eating the crust of humility all their lives. Is that the future we mapped out for ourselves? I swear, I don't know any other alternative. It's not a very pleasant alternative, is it? Of course, some girls do marry. Haven't you ever liked some boy?
Yes, I liked one once. I came across this picture a while ago.
Oh, he gave you his picture?
No, it's in the yearbook.
Oh, a high school boy.
Here he is in Pirates of Penzance.
What?
The operetta the senior class put on.
Oh.
He had such a beautiful voice. And we sat across the aisle from each other Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the auditorium. And here he is with the silver cup for debating. You see his grin?
So, he had a grin too.
He used to call me Blue Roses.
Why did he call you a name such as that?
When I had that attack of pleurosis, he asked me what was the matter when I came back, and I said pleurosis, and he thought I said Blue Roses. So that's what he always called me after that. Whenever he'd see me, he'd holler, "Hello, Blue Roses." I didn't care much for the girl that he went with, Emily Meisenbach. She was the best dressed girl at Solden. She never struck me though as being sincere. It said in the personal section they're engaged. That's 6 years now. They must be married by now.
Well, girls that aren't cut out for business careers usually marry some nice man. Sister, that's what you'll do.
But Mother,
Yes?
I'm crippled.
Nonsense. Laura, I've told you never, never, never to say that word. You are not crippled. You just have a slight defect, that's all. Barely noticeable even. Why, if you had lived in the time when I was a girl, and we went to dances every evening, and we wore those long, graceful dresses sweeping the floor, why, it might even have seemed an asset. People that have some slight disadvantage like that usually find some other quality to make up for it, like charm, vivacity, and charm. One thing your father had plenty of was charm.